Hi, it's the Johnson City Library with this week's story time on mythological beasts. So our book is The Library Dragon by Carmen Agra Deedy. Sunrise Elementary School had a big problem. The new librarian, Miss Lotta Scales, was a real dragon. Oh, look at her, there she is. She was hired to guard the library, and she took her job very seriously. Hundreds of new, clean books replaced the old, smudgy ones. Those shining gems neatly lined the shelf of her library lyre in perfect order. There's a picture of Miss Lotta Scales that says, pencil and claw sharpened. She kept a fiery eye out to make sure no one removed any books from the shelves. Her motto was, a place for everything, and that's where it stays. She could not bear the thought of dirty hands on her precious book. It made her hot under the collar. Miss Scales thought that the way some books spread an unfounded fear of dragons was positively inflammatory. Books that depict cruelty to dragons should never have been published in the first place. She got so fired up about it, she didn't just discard the books she didn't like, she incinerated them. Do you know that means burned them? The kids were scared to death. Well, that settles it, whispered Albert Hoops. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and Miss Scales is a real dragon. All right. Not surprisingly, the kids at Sunrise Elementary School began to dread Library Day. It wasn't long before the teacher stopped sending the children to the library because they kept coming back singed. That means a little burned. First, the principal tried to reason with Miss Scales, but this plan backfired. Instead of cooling her down, he just fueled the flames. And finally, don't forget who does the hiring, Miss Scales, sputtered the principal. Oh, really? And who does the firing? Asked Miss Scales with a glare and a flare that caught his tie on fire. Now cut that out, said the principal as he waved the smoke out of his face. No smoking in the library, Miss Lotta Scales said dryly. Well, that didn't work, so the teachers formed a delegation, and after a trip to the cafeteria kitchen to fortify themselves, they paid a visit to Miss Scales. Miss Lemon said, You know, Miss Scales, we all love the books as much as you do, but the library belongs to the children. Good night, Miss Lemon. You slay me, cracked Miss Scales. Why, the idea of Storytime is simply medieval. Uh-oh. There goes the fire, and there goes Miss Lemon. That Miss Lemon is a real spitfire, chuckled Miss Scales. But she had spewed so much smoke and fire at sweet Miss Lemon that she had to lie down for a nap. She was really dragon. In fact, she was burned out. Being a library dragon can be a lonely job, she mumbled sadly to herself as she heaved a mighty sigh and closed her scaly eyes. It was at that very moment that Molly Brickmeyer accidentally wandered into the library. Molly was on a quest. She had lost her glasses and couldn't see a thing without them unless it was right under her nose. She stumbled into a bookshelf and a book fell into her lap. She never saw the sign that said, "Don't touch the books, for display only." It was over her head. So she held this one right under her nose and began to read out loud. First, a class of second graders in line for the water fountain heard her and tiptoed in to listen. Then the fourth graders outside playing kickball heard a story being read and crowded around the windows. "Speak up," someone said. Molly Brickmeyer spoke up. Word of Storytime in the library spread like wildfire at Sunrise Elementary School. Everyone was listening, even the library dragon, and her ears were burning. Slowly, Miss Lotta Scales rose up from behind a bookshelf and looked at the boys and girls huddled around Molly. She'd never seen anything quite like it. The children looked like they belonged here. "I love you, Snuff," Molly read on as all the children listened. "Give me that book, Molly Brickmeyer," roared Miss Scales. Molly held the book cheerfully toward Miss Scales. Miss Lotta Scales took the book and eyed it suspiciously as it hung from her claw. First she sniffed it. Then she checked the spine for cracks. Then she checked each page for stains and smudges. Finally, Miss Scales looked around at the children and cleared the smoke from her throat. "Now, where were we? Why, yes, I love you, Snuff." At first, the children were too nervous to listen. But when Molly Brickmeyer climbed up to Miss Lotta Scales' lap and didn't get scorched, they relaxed. "You're warm," whispered Molly. "Don't interrupt," Miss Scales crackled. Everyone was listening so intensely that they almost missed it. As she read, Miss Lotta Scales' scales began to fall to the linoleum floor with a clickety-clack, clickety-clack. Clickety-clack, until all that was left was Miss Lottie, librarian and storyteller, sitting on a mountain of yellow, green, and purple scales with Molly Brickmeyer, Dragon Slayer Extraordinary, on her lap. The rest of the children warmed up to Miss Lottie right away. The changes in Miss Lottie's new kid-friendly library were hard to miss. Not surprisingly, the kids at Sunrise Elementary School began to love Library Day. Miss Lottie's transformation, however, was not complete. But then, every librarian needs to be a little bit of a dragon, or else who would guard the books? And right here it says upside down, the end of our tale.